We are not going to do a big economic update like we normally do. This is so much material and only a piece of what we need to cover in the way of protecting ourselves against the cyber bullies out there and the scams. And I think you're going to find it interesting. Some of you may know more about this than I do, but I do have Tony Bryson here with us, which is our general manager, also has a background in IT, and he has helped us avoid a lot of problems and help many of our clients. So as we go through this, I'll just go ahead and get started. As some of you may have noticed as you were coming by, just a little update, we're doing a remodel. You probably got a notice that our office is closed and we're working virtually for the next couple of weeks. So it's about a 3-week project. So we're doing, I won't tell you all the stuff that we're doing, I'll let you see it when you come in, but a lot of remodeling and redecorating and changing of some of our structure. So anyway, I think you'll enjoy that. And look at there. She said yes. Thank you. Thank you. And I just, for those of you who've known me for a long time, I want to thank you for not telling Leanne what to expect. That really helped. So there we are. All right, so kind of before we get started, how many of you have watched our YouTube podcast channel? Okay, maybe about a third of you. For those of you who haven't, I really want to encourage you to consider subscribing. You don't have to watch every episode, but I think everybody is aware of the OBBBA, right? The OBBBA. All right. That's what they call it. It's the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Anyway, but it does open up some opportunities and challenges in the way of taxes, and we are going to have another Coffee with the Coach talking about how that might affect people, so be on the lookout for that. We're not going to do that at this meeting, but we are going to do a lot of podcasts and YouTubes that will give you an opportunity to learn more about this bill and other things that are happening. As you might consider, there's probably going to be a lot of changes occurring this year. We want to stay on top of that. We want to be able to inform our clients as to what's happening. So be on the lookout for that. If you don't know how to do this scan, of course, right now, if you wanted to, and you're more tech savvy than me, you could scan that QR code. It would take you right to the link and you could sign up. For those of you who would like to, and we really want to encourage you to do that, help us keep education going on an ongoing basis. Amber is set up somewhere. I don't know where Amber is, but most of you know Amber. See Amber or Allie, and they can help you get that set up. You'll get a notification if you sign up properly every time an episode comes out. And they're coming out about, I think, every 2 weeks right now, okay? So thank you guys for that. All right, so cybercrime is widespread and touches every family. You're going to see some interesting things today. You probably have some interesting stories on your own. So more than half of the U.S. citizens have been, think about that, 50% of the citizens of the U.S. have been subject to this already. There's 1 million passwords stolen each week. And who knows what the most common password is? Password, yeah. And by the way, I have another client who's in the tech industry, primarily in the telecommunication field, and his password, he told me, was password 123. I don't know what to make of that. Anyway, 1/3 of Americans have had some portion of their identity stolen. 2.5 million families had their health insurance stolen each year. That's unbelievable, right? And 43 million people have been doxxed. Do you guys know what doxxed is? So this is like cyberbullying. So what they're doing is they're finding information about you or someone you love, and they're threatening or exposing that on social media, etc. Sometimes this is a part of a blackmail scheme and things like that. That's becoming really big. And we are going to do Q&A at the end. And when that happens, I'm getting the heck out of the way and going to let Tony come up and help me. So why is this important? So cybercrime will soon be a 10.5 trillion. I can't even fathom what a trillion is, even though the government seems to be throwing trillions around left and right. So to help us understand, this will surpass the profitability of all illegal drug sales combined, which is unbelievable. And to help us visualize this, 1 trillion seconds is roughly 32,000 years, to put it in perspective, which I still don't know that I understand what that is, right? So cyber threats affect everyone, and particularly, it's kind of like go where the money is. So high net worth families are particularly vulnerable to that because they're a bigger target. So right now, here are the most common scams in 2025 so far. Tax ID theft, 10%. Tech support crime, 15%. Romantic scams, 15%. Phone scams, 25%. And phishing emails, 35%. So that's the ratio. So they're well diversified. That's supposed to be kind of like a joke. And it was kind of like. All right, so here are some common, we're going to go into some more detail on that. Let me see what I got going on. All right, so using public Wi-Fi without a VPN, if you don't know what that is, Tony can go over that a little bit more. I've had to work for a couple of appointments that needed to be in person. We rented the conference room next door in 55 Atlanta Street, which is just to the left of the building, so we could do that. For a while, I could pick up the signal from our office, but it really was weak. So I decided to connect to the building that I was in, and my VPN automatically came on. I locked it in and gave myself some additional protection, and you stay on that as limited as possible. So going fishing, anybody like to go fishing? So there's a lot of phishing out there. So phishing emails and texts look like they're from banks, the government, or companies like Amazon, postal service. There's usually some kind of urgent reply. Never click on unsolicited messages. Look at the email address if it's slightly off. And one thing that you can do, if you get an email and it looks like it's from a company that you're familiar with, if you take your mouse and your pointer and you go right over it, usually it will disclose what the email actually is, and you'll often see that it's a spoofed email address. So contact the company directly. Don't use any links. Obviously, that's probably obvious, but I'm telling you that we have clients that are doing this all the time. And then they're calling us and we're having to freeze their accounts and that. So just be careful. This stuff is, and with AI, it's not going to get easier to detect. So Tony and I have been talking about this, and you'll probably see some new protocols from our office. And I want you guys to understand, how many of you love changing your password every time you get a notification? Just love it, love, 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 right? Nobody does. But it's worth it, okay? It's necessary, and we are probably going to make some protocol changes that some of you won't like, but they're designed to protect you based on experiences we're seeing in the industry and scams that are out there. So that might involve some changes in how we communicate about doing certain things that might seem insulting to you, like, do you not know who I am and all that. But remember, a lot of these companies can take your phone number and they can spoof it. They can, with AI, they can change the voice to be you. There's a lot of things that are happening like that. We're going to make sure that we do some extra precautions when it comes to that. So, spam and scams. Everybody gets a spam call. Everybody gets a spam call. So, right? How many of you get like one a day or more, right? I mean, they're coming in all the time. So IRS, Medicare, tech support. Here's one. I served on the grand jury last year, and this is a big one because it's actually happening in Cobb County. Grandchild in trouble scam. And you get a phone call. This is an attorney with so-and-so. Your granddaughter has been arrested. Blah, blah, everything's going to be okay. She's safe. And we need, X amount of $5,000 to get started, to get her out of jail and all that. She didn't want to call her parents because she doesn't want them to know what's happened, so there's urgency and all that kind of stuff. And these are crimes that are actually happening. They're happening quite a bit more frequently than I would have thought. So again, numbers can be spoofed, which means you can get a phone call or a text from somebody that you recognize the number and it's not them at all, okay? So let unknown numbers go to voicemail. And if you're like me and you do that, you find out they don't leave a voicemail, right? They just go, and then you can block them or whatever you want to do. Never give out personal information over the phone unless you initiated the call. So real quick, I'll tell you some stories as we go along. I'm gonna have some others share some stories with you. I was skiing, I was on a ski lift, and I got a call from Wells Fargo. And being aware of this was a couple of years ago, I took the call and it said that we think that your bank account has been compromised. And I'm gonna come back to this one in a minute. And I said, I think there's a train coming by. So I said, when I get off the lift, I'm gonna call you back. I called back, and sure enough, somebody had gotten a clone of my check, and they'd written several less than $10,000 checks and gone to different Wells Fargo banks, and all of them were for construction work I was not having done. And all of the checks were cashed by homeless people, which these scammers do because they don't care if they get arrested or not. And what I found out, which was difficult to deal with personally, is they don't go after them because they don't mind going to jail and they've got nothing to get. They're not the ones involved. They're getting paid a couple of $100s to go cash the check to bring the money back out. So anyway, so we'll get into that in just a second. Social media scams, fake friends, friend requests, fake contests, romantic scams. I'm going to talk about a couple of these. Look who died in an accident. Don't accept friend requests from people you don't know. Like people like me, we need some friends, but I'm not going to accept any strangers anymore. Be skeptical of any emotional pleas or strange links. Enable two-factor authentication for Facebook and other accounts. And Aaron, are you here? Could you come up here for just a minute? So Aaron volunteered to share a story that happened with them recently. Just take your time, Aaron. Aaron, I'm under new management. We can't have this.
That's right. I gotta keep everybody happy. Hey, good morning again, guys. My name is Aaron Calhoun, one of the planers here at Yeomans with John and Layla. Married to a beautiful woman, beautiful blonde, graduate from Keatron High School. We consider ourselves two bright people. But a little over a year ago, we're out on the back porch. I've just got done grilling a phenomenal meal. We're watching the sunset. Life is great. We're doing what everybody does in that moment. We're reading sonnets and no, we were flipping through our phones, right? Isn't that how we end the nights now? We doom scroll through our phones. Well, here, let me tell you something about me first. When I go out the door every morning, guys, if you're like me, I check for my phone, my wallet, my keys, and I'm good to go. Is that anybody other guys in the room? Now, my wife, it's a little different. She's got 2 bags she needs. She's got a Stanley Cup that's got to have fresh water and ice in it, a few other things that I don't understand. That's fine. It's none of my business. I'm just glad that I get to be in the car with her. Well, one of those things I mentioned was a Stanley Cup, right? Any other Stanley Cup owners in the room understand her vigilance. It makes her extremely happy to have her big Stanley Cup. Well, as we were sitting there scrolling that night, she leans over and gives me the elbow, which means, hey, quit paying attention to your scroll, look over on my scroll, see what's going on over here. She's on Facebook. She sees an ad from Academy Sports. I'm a huge fan of Academy Sports. I said, okay, what are we doing? First, I got excited. I thought it was going to be for me. It was not. She saw an advertisement in the scroll. Academy Sports was selling Stanley Cups, buy one, get one free. Now that sounds too good to be true, right? Don't get to the end of my story just yet. Her sisters, she's got twin sisters. She wanted to get them something for their birthday. She's like, I'm going to get them Stanley Cups for their birthday. This is a great deal. So she throws 2 in the cart, puts in the promo code, one of them's free. She's like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and get another one for me, because if you've already got a Stanley Cup and it's great, you need another one, right? She had 2 hands, might as well have 2 Stanley Cups. And she got 4 Stanley Cups for a little over $100. She had a great meal that her amazing, good-looking husband had cooked for her. The jokes aren't working at all, so I guess apparently both of us. And we slept the sleep of people who are great spouses and great siblings who had made great, prudent purchases. Only problem was she called me the next day when I got to work and she said, hey, I never got an email on the cups that I ordered. You know, I should be getting that confirmation email. I wanted to make sure they're here on time, so I'd have them for my sister's birthday party. Take a look at it when I get home. So luckily we went in the history on the internet, and let me tell you something, guys, it looked real. I see the website and I'm like, well, let me find the number to call. I never could find the number to call. And as I started navigating away to other pages, the website falls apart. And when I looked up in the secure line of the web address, it was not the Academy Sports web address that I was used to. There was some letters and numbers and things in there that were very, very fishy. Now, the one thing that my wife did that was absolutely right is she made the purchase with her credit card. So that ended up being the number that we called, and we let them know, hey, we have fallen victim to a social media advertising scam. They walked us through the steps, let us know what we needed to do to protect ourselves. But it was wild to us in that moment how fast it happened, how polished it looked. I remember years ago, if you saw a misspelling in the email, if you saw something really squidgy with the grammar, you're like, that's a mess, and I see it real quick. This looked so good. It looked so real. And so the reality is we've really got to work hard to protect ourselves, our assets, and our family in a moment like this, because in a vulnerable moment, in a way that looked really authentic, we got taken really fast. Luckily, the credit card company shut it down really quick. We didn't have any exposure beyond a real minor inconvenience and some other phone calls that need to be made. But again, I wanted to be vulnerable today because the real important thing about this is when we take those next steps, knowing who to call, how to handle it, get it nipped in the bud fast. And the thing about it is we don't need to be prideful about this. We need to get protective immediately. So again, we goofed. Hopefully that goof will encourage you guys in the room to be able to look for the things that we're talking about and protect yourself and your families. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron. Okay, dating and romantic scams. So we can see on here, scammers create fake online presence in social media or dating sites. They approach you to gain trust. Can you not hear me? Okay, all right. So they say they're overseas, there's always a problem. They're victims of some kind of financial issue. No matter how many ways they might give you, they've got to ask for more. So, true story, we had a client who worked with us, widowed. One of the advisors worked with this person, and she fell victim to this. And the person was overseas, and they had come into some money, and in order to get access to the money, they had to pay some taxes to get the money released because it was in another country, and you can see where this is going, right? And so she didn't let us know that, she just needed some money. It's her money, right? So we released the money, and the advisor that worked with her knew her pretty well, and she requested another sum of money and kind of called her out on it. You know, what is this about? And she explained the story, and the advisor said, yeah, that's not legitimate. But she was emotionally attached to this. And we really worked hard not to release the funds. We released the funds one more time. She still had plenty of money left. And we said, we can't let you do this. She moved her accounts to another firm, and they got everything. So what I want you to know is sometimes our emotions and all that kind of stuff really do not serve us well. Part of the reason we're taking some time to explain this is we don't want that to happen to anybody else. And there's only so much we're legally able to do. And we want you to be aware that these things exist so that if something does seem a little bit like that, and I'm going to show you something, or actually I'm going to have Leanne come up here in a minute and share something with you. So here's kind of how some of this works. You get a friend request. Your emotions are heightened. There's a request that is urgent. You've won something. You're receiving help you didn't ask for. The sender can't prove their identity. Now, this seems pretty simple. So, guaranteed returns. And Leanne, I'm going to have you come up here now if you don't mind. You got to act fast. It's secret. I'm going to tell a story, then I'm going to have Leanne tell something that just happened to her. I have a client who is, unfortunately, he and his wife have both passed. They're clients for many, many years. He was an IBM executive. They lived out in California. He was retired and very sharp, extremely gracious in working with us, and always, just really treated our team fantastic. So I had a special, place in my heart for him because he was so appreciative of a few of our team members and always voiced that. So I'll never forget that about him. And he calls me one day and he needs $80,000. He's got plenty of money, so we released the $80,000. We don't know, well, what's it for? That's his money, right? So then he calls back about a week later and needs $120,000. I'm going to call him Bob. That's not his name. And say, Bob, this is unusual activity. What's going on? He said, oh, it's nothing. My wife, I'll call her Mary. Mary has a big birthday coming up. That's a big birthday. We're not doing those kind of birthdays, man. So anyway, so he needs this for a birthday party. And something, how you get something in your gut, like this isn't right. I said, Bob, it's me. What's going on? He goes, I can't tell you. And I go, you can't tell me? He says, no. He says, I just can't, the word can't get out or something like that. I said, are you in trouble? Are you safe? He says, oh yeah. He said, a matter of fact, it's good. I said, okay, tell me about it. He said, okay, just promise me, you're not going to tell anybody. This between you and I. Confidential. I won the lottery. Well, that's fantastic. I said, so why do you need to take out, $200,000? He says, it's not in the U.S. Now, here's what I'm telling you. This is a former IBM executive. This isn't a dummy. Okay? And I went a little further, and while we're talking, I got on my computer, started putting in keywords as I was asking him questions about some of the details, and I found it. It was an ongoing scam at the time. This is probably 10 years ago. And his son happened to be an attorney, and I knew his son, and I said, can I call your son and explain what I've discovered? He said, yeah, I guess so. I said, it's important. And he said, okay. I called his son, and his son was extremely grateful that we paused everything. And so I'm thinking we just saved him from, taking out $120,000. His son called me back and said, it's worse than we thought. They had already got a couple $100,000 from his bank account, and he was out of money in the bank account and was coming to his investments to get money. So it was a done deal. And again, the reason I'm telling you this is this can happen to extremely intelligent people, and we can think it never happened to us, but they are so clever in how they emotionally attach and they wordsmith things that people can fall victim to it. So anyway, Leanne, could you come up for just a second? Faster than Aaron did? It's the 30 days are up.
He's done. He's locked in.
All right. So I asked Leanne to actually read this. This happened on the 20th, okay?
Can you hold it for me?
Sure, baby.
Okay. So, geez. Okay. So this was sent to me from a dear, dear friend of my late husband, so just to preface it. So the subject is seeking serious help in a big way. Leanne, I am writing to you embarrassed and as a last resort, seeking help in obtaining a short-term loan, 3 weeks max, for $320,000 that I need in my bank account by this Wednesday, today, so I can wire these funds to my crypto exchange, BTS Global, to release my funds that currently reside at this exchange as USDT, not dollars. I am sorry this is a rather late request, but I had these funds promised by an old friend who just today backed out of her promise. I can explain why she backed out, and I do not blame her for backing out. The history behind my request, I will make long story short. After Mary, his wife, died, I got invited by a friend to engage in some crypto trading. I got in as deep as I wanted and made a mistake trying to withdraw my funds. Current crypto exchange rules require you to pay your federal tax burden on your earnings to the crypto exchange, who in turn files your taxes and then reimburses you your funds. 4 years ago, Mary and I owned some BTC and ETH on Coinbase. We sold it, got our funds, and a statement regarding taxes due from Coinbase sent to the IRS. So in my mistaken withdrawal attempt, I thought I would pay taxes after receipt of funds, and of course, this caused a lot of unhappiness. A frozen account with my funds locked up and the suspicion of tax evasion. Nevertheless, I eventually cleared things up in time, paid my taxes and a penalty, and then unfortunately agreed to participate in some more trades. Let me assure you, people who trade for a living do not guess about the results. They hire a trading guru who calculates to the minute when to trade and how to trade up or down. Let's say I made more money than I should, and to withdraw these funds, I had to come up with millions of dollars of fresh money to pay my federal taxes. Because I could not do this fast enough, my funds were kept by the blockchain regulator, a position created by the US government for crypto observation, and to keep this crazy business somewhat honest, who finally, after receipt of my Fed tax funds, deposited them into a crypto exchange of my choosing called BTS Global. Legal name is Bitstamp Global, but funds deposited in USDT, not US dollars. I now must pay a conversion fee to convert from USDT to US dollars, and a withdrawal fee to retrieve my funds. I do not have an issue with paying their fees, but this fee money has to be fresh funds to avoid the possibility of the funds previously deposited being tainted or money laundered funds. The total conversion fee and withdrawal fee is $711,000. I literally had these funds corralled and transmitted to BTS Global as a $391,000 wire from my bank and $320,000 USDT borrowed from a friend who sent the funds directly to my wallet at the BTS Global Exchange. What I did not know is that these fee funds must all be directly attributed from an account in my name. So they accepted the $391,000 and they froze the $320 USDT and asked me to send them an additional $320,000 via wire or from a wallet in my personal name from another crypto exchange. It simply cannot be funds contributed by someone other than me. So you understand the magnitude. I am trying to get $14 million released. This sum includes all my net worth paid in taxes, and I still owe state tax on my trading profit, Fed and state tax on my liquidated IRA funds, and money I borrowed from friends to get to the point I am at now, almost having my funds released. Bitstamp Global is registered with U.S. Treasury FinCEN report in Colorado and are authorized to conduct business in all 50 states and other, I think that's countries. They are legitimate crypto exchange. So what I urgently need now is a new $320,000 short-term loan, 3 weeks max, and as soon as my funds are in my bank, I will repay the lender of the $320,000, $1 million for the opportunity. I am anxious to resolve this issue, get my funds released, pay all my debts, and never utter the word crypto for the rest of my time in this world. If you know anyone willing to take a reasonable chance with me and lend me these funds for a handsome fee opportunity, I would appreciate being connected with them pronto. I literally must wire funds by this Wednesday afternoon to make my time deadline.
Thank you,
So I
Leanne.
told him to call Randy.
So after the meeting today, all of you interested will meet back here by the back door. So the reason I asked Leanne to read that, and thank you for doing that, is how cleverly things are integrated into that story. And if you sent this out to thousands of people, somebody might bite because they're going to invest $320,000 and they're going to get $1 million return in 3 weeks. And you think people won't do that, but they will. And it works. Fortunately, it didn't work with Leanne, but that's the kind of thing that, and the wording and how they do that kind of stuff so that you could be aware how, I mean, they're telling you much more about the story than you need to know. I mean, you begin to think, oh, I could see how that possibly could happen to somebody or that. I mean, I don't know if you can or not, but I know some folks can. So this is the next response, and I obviously changed the email address, but this happened Monday, seeking serious help. This is a follow-up. Leanne, I am now seeking $160,000 and will return $500,000 when my funds are released from the bank account. Okay. Next week, he only needs 80. But again, you know, and if you're thinking in terms of how this works, okay, I won't do 320, but you know, I might do 160. You see what I mean? That's just how clever these people are and how important this information is. So identity theft and breaches, leaks from retailers, banks, and social media can expose information. Scammers use your name, your birth date, your social security number, your address, freeze your credit with all three. These are some protection tips with all credit bureaus. Use strong passwords. Tony and I were talking about this, you know, when you're using passwords, you want to make them very difficult to replicate because of the way technology is today. You know, you can have a machine running all of these iterations to try to come up with a number or a password for you, and watch for suspicious credit card and Medicare charges. Banks need help catching someone. So I'm going to tell you one more story. I'm not going to kill you with this stuff, but I just want to let you know that this happens. So one of my clients, her son-in-law and daughter are also clients of mine. We were doing some work for the son-in-law, and he's getting close to retirement. And I just mentioned I hadn't talked to his mom, mother-in-law, in a while. How's she doing? He said, "You don't know, do you?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, she's embarrassed. She doesn't want anybody to know." Now, I have permission to do this, and you won't know her. The bank needed her assistance. She got a phone call from the bank, and the bank said, remember me on the ski lift, right? The bank called her directly and said, "We have some suspicious activity on your account. We'd like you to come by the bank." okay? When you come by the bank, don't speak to anybody about this. We think it's an inside person. We want you to withdraw $1,000, and we're gonna track the activity. She puts her FBI hat on, heads to the bank, takes out the $1,000. They follow up with her. We don't see that activity. What we're gonna do is, let's do 10,000. Back to the bank, takes out the 10,000. What we're gonna do, I know this seems unbelievable to you, but again, this is a sharp lady. This is a lady I've known for 30 years, okay? And what we want you to do is we want you to, using the bank's crypto network. Have y'all seen your bank's crypto network? Okay, yeah. They are going to try to get your funds if you go back in a regular account, and to protect you, we're gonna have you deposit these into one of our ATM type of machines that you can go to this gas station and deposit the $10,000, and we will set up your account for you. So she's at the gas station. I mean, this is blowing my mind, knowing this lady. And she can't figure out what they're asking her to do, so she calls her granddaughter, and her granddaughter says, "What are you doing?" And she explains it. She says, "Don't move. I'll be there in 10 minutes. And that's how they figured it out. But anyway, there was a little bit more to the story. They actually did get some of her money. This was layered, and that's what happened, layered trust and things like that. So again, don't think that you can't be a victim of this. This is another one that I'm going to show you some things that we've gotten. These are just recently, and I had another one today I didn't put on there, but this is, again, to Leanne, and this is an email. "Thank you for your order." Well, she didn't make this order. So if you get a notification that your order went through or didn't go through, or thank you for, you're going to start following up. And of course, there's a way of doing that on all of these emails, which takes you right to the criminal. So spoofing is, again, another way, email spoofing, et cetera. It looks like we were just talking about that. Looks like it's coming from legitimately from the bank, financial institution, a friend, Academy Sports, whatever it might be, and they've just spoofed them. And they're getting they were good. They are really good now. You've really got to be cautious. So don't respond to any of those. So here's another one. Your retirement coach signature request on an agreement. I went ahead and highlighted the address before I did a screenshot of this, and see that revised execution document? Yeah, I didn't do that. I screenshot it and deleted it, okay? Because we don't have an address like that. Here's another one. This is from our dear Allie. So Allie wants me to change her direct deposit. And apparently Allie has a new email address. Again, I'm not falling for this. You probably won't, but somebody will. Here's one. We have unverified mailboxes. And this is an email provider called Smarsh, big organization, but that's not their email address. And that's why, when you get up there at the top and you highlight that, you can see how that's happening. And here's another one from your retirement coach at HM Associates. And they're wanting me to release pending messages. So high net worth clients, firms like ours, are targets. Your bank's a target, you're a target, all that kind of stuff. And so we've got to have a lot of additional diligence. And if you have any sense that something isn't right, stop. Go to a trusted resource, talk to a trusted person about what's going on. Don't respond to anything, especially if it seems urgent. So direct attacks, compromised passwords are easily guessable. Malware, a lot of these links, like if you click on any of these things, they can install software on your computer and take your computer over and get everything that they want. Fake applications that have Trojans, free application, it does all these wonderful things. Well, there's a reason it's free. Okay, they want you to download it on your phone or your computer. Don't do it. Criminals exploit individuals who do not limit their personal information. So a lot of times, do you want me to save your credit card for future purchases? The answer to that is no. Good. Let's talk a little bit about identity theft. Again, a tremendous number of people have had identity theft, and this is what it's about. You'll see withdrawals from your bank account that you can't explain. One of the things I like about some of the software that we're using today is, we can do some integration and you can take a quick look at everything at once. Otherwise, many of you have different bank accounts, different investments, and you're having to go around and search and see, what credit cards, whatever, does the activity look accurate? So having something that's all located in one place might be helpful. Medical providers bill you services that you didn't use. You don't get your bills or other email. All of a sudden, you're not getting something, like somebody's gone to your mailbox and taken things from you. Medical claims are denied, and you didn't have, and you've reached your benefit limits. A health plan won't cover you because your medical records don't show a condition you don't have. The IRS notifies you that one or more of your returns was filled in your name. Debt collectors call you about debts that aren't yours. And of course, this is a big one. They will start working with you to solve this problem. They're on your side. They're going to help you solve this problem, and they're going to get all your personal information as they help you. Okay. You find unfamiliar accounts, charges on your credit card. May have told some of you this before. We had a pizza delivery a couple of years ago, and a lot of us use credit cards today, and the gentleman said, your card number didn't go through. He's a delivery guy. We've got, this number. Oh, no, it's not that number. I give it to you. I see your card? Sure. See the card? And next thing you know, about 2 weeks later, I'm getting some kind of charge in California, some charge here, and I realized that I narrowed it down to that. I mean, I could have been something else, but I thought, that was stupid of me. It's a pizza delivery guy. He's not gonna, but maybe he did. Maybe this was a one-day job for him. I don't know. And that's the other good thing about sometimes using a credit card for some of this. The banks will protect you against certain scams. So let's talk about the difference between identity theft. This is where a criminal uses fake social media account. I've had my some of my social media spoofed. We recently had a bill go out that had all of our information, and we were billing consulting services to this other company for $15,000. I don't know how many of those went out, how many different companies for our consulting services for this period of time. Maybe somebody had paid it, and by the way, they put the bank account information that you were supposed, it wasn't ours, but it was, everything was like it was from us, and we had one of the people that got that message reach out to us and said, we don't know what this is, and we had them send it to us, and of course it wasn't us. So
it wasn't even our client.
No, it wasn't our client.
They're sending it out to everybody.
Yeah.
Our client.
So again, I'm not trying to scare you more than is necessary, but I am trying to scare you a little bit, okay? A criminal uses your social security number to obtain driver's license with their likeness, but your name and other personal information. That's identity theft. Identity fraud is a criminal uses your debit card information to make purchases against your bank account. Criminal use your personal information to open up new credit lines and retailers that makes purchases with them. Very common, this is happening a lot, and that's why we've got to really protect ourselves and who gets our information. So just one thing, a lot of us today, because of our mobile devices, we're out in the public, and maybe you're trying to use something, and you've got to give them your credit card number. You can't send cash through your phone. You can kind of do things like Venmo and Zelle and that, but if you're doing a credit card and you're in a public place, get private, get somewhere. Don't just give out your credit card number, okay? In public. Monitor your identity. Here's an example, annualcreditreport.com. Monitor bank accounts, credit cards, and other investment accounts. Use credit monitoring tools like LifeLock, Identity Force, etc. We don't represent any of those companies. Just if you're extra concerned, take some extra precaution. Look for phishing emails and texts, spoofed phone numbers, romantic and investment scams. Again, this is a little redundant, but these are some main points. Tech fraud support, somebody's going to help you with something like the bank, or this is expired, your software's expired, that kind of thing. Here's one that we got recently, a text message from Wells Fargo Bank. A purchase of $1,168.89 was done in Los Angeles, right, at Walmart. If it's not you, cancel, follow the link to cancel. Yeah, don't do that, okay? But, these things can look really legitimate. And remember, nobody in this room might, but if we make this room 10 times bigger, somebody did this. Somebody would have done that. Use password managers and passphrases. Really good to come up with a unique phrase that nobody would know and include some symbols in it. Tony believes, I think, that it's better to use a password manager, let them create this password for you, which is often 4 pages long, and and we don't want to do it because it's difficult. That's why the #1 password is password. Okay, because we're lazy, right? And avoid public Wi-Fi without a VPN. And let's see, IRS and government personal alerts. The IRS never contacts you via phone or email. Report scams to phishing@irs.gov. Report government scams to ftc.gov/complaint. I'm going to skip this in the interest of time. Excuse me. So regular update protection, online accounts, devices, constant threats involve requiring ongoing updates of security measures. I'm just telling you that in the world that we live today, it takes a lot of extra work that is uncomfortable and not fun. VPNs, password manager, which is what I was saying, Tony was talking about, and private email. I'll just mention one other thing. How many of you have more than one email address? Okay. So if you don't do this is something I do. I don't know how awesome it is or not, but like I have old emails, like they go back, I don't know how long, like forever. And they just get jammed full of crap, right? I mean, you get like everybody and their brother, you just can't keep them cleaned up and all. So what I've done is with all of my financial related activity, I use a separate email, and I don't use that email for anything else. So that I don't have any data that might be clogged up going into my spam or anything like that. So nobody has that email but my bank and financial institutions, and I don't give that email out to anything else. But if I have to have an email, I use that email that I don't use for anything else. And that's something that you might consider. Emails are free, and that might be a way to reduce some of that as well. So action, slow down. Why it matters, scammers want you to act fast, so that's why there's urgency. Verify request, call the real person or business before acting, and of course, don't use the number in the solicitation. Use unique passwords. Reusing passwords puts all of your accounts at risk. You should have a different password for everything. I know that's not fun. Update devices regularly, security, update protection against new threats, but a reminder, you may get some requests to do this that are not legitimate. So make sure you initiate these. Shared personal emails prevent old school identity thefts. I already told you the IBM executive that won the lottery. Also, many of you, your children and grandchildren might be more tech savvy, right? Can we admit that? They're also more likely to be scammed than you. So share this information with your, forgive me, your oh so smart children and grandchildren. They may know how to get to stuff on the device, but they might be more vulnerable to being scammed and spoofed, okay? If you're unsure, get a trusted family member involved. Forward suspicious emails to report phishing at agwg.org. I don't know if that's the best place. If you get a friend request from someone you don't know, call them before accepting it. Someone always asks for money urgently. We shared a couple of stories about that. So anyway, we're gonna end with some Q&A. I'm just gonna tell you a couple of things that we've got going on. First of all, thank you guys. Anybody want to stand up and stretch? That was a long thing. I didn't realize how long that would take us to go through it when you're talking about it instead of just doing the presentation. Here's some upcoming classes we've got. Starting in August, we're gonna have one on the tariffs impact on your retirement. Nick's gonna be teaching that. August 7th, I think all of these are at, where is Nicole? Is this at Ollie? KSU Ollie. Estate planning for second marriages. The 19th, death and taxes, a 2-part series. That'll also be at Ollie. In September, we're doing an 8-week class at SEL. This is a facility in Roswell. There'll be 2 different classes. One will be focused on tax planning, and the other will be smart and single, people who are widowed, divorced, always been single. So this is gonna focus on those unique things that single people need to know. And Nick will be helping me with that. If you like some of the stuff that we're doing, if you haven't done this before, we'd love for you to give us a Google review, and I'll tell you why that's important. What that does is when somebody is searching for us, it helps us show up higher in the search because there's only 4 million people that do financial planning right now, and we're 4,000,001. So we actually, when people do certain searches in the area, we do show up close to the top. But if you would like to give us a Google review, we'd appreciate that as long as it's not horrible. If you have a horrible one, just come talk to me. But if you've had a good one and you wouldn't mind sharing it, that'd be wonderful. And you can do that. Again, you can see Amber on how to do that. And this is how you can do a Google review if you know how to use a QR code. So let's open it up to Q&A. Tony, would you mind coming up for a minute? Yeah. And again, thank you. Yes.
There are a number of different password managers. We use in the office LastPass because it's something we can use as a team. But they do have individuals, users for LastPass. There are quite a number of them. I personally use Norton's password manager, which, by the way, you can get for free. But I highly recommend that you have an antivirus program on your computer and your phone. And a lot of those do include a password manager. So as an example, my whole family uses Norton. Now, I'm not selling Norton to anybody, but I've been using Norton for probably 30 years. It's not necessarily the best in the world, but it is something I'm familiar with, but the password manager is very good. I have over 2,000 passwords in my password manager, and I manage it with 1Password. I change that 1Password every month.
What day?
The 18th, which happens to be the day of my birth, so that I can easily remember it. And I actually have it on my calendar to change my password. Now, you don't have to do that. I do that because I deal with the office. I deal with, and have in the past, because I've owned a computer business for 40 years, I've dealt with a lot of secure systems, and I have a lot of data in there. So I recommend you look at antivirus programs. McAfee has one, Norton has one. Those are both well-known, very versatile programs, and they do have the ability to add password managers.
Hold on one second, Tony. I have a really important message and announcement. We have some fresh pastries and coffee in the back if anybody wants to get it. And I thought that would be worth stopping, Tony. Yes, sir.
How safe are a VPN?
Well, a standard VPN like Norton with mine included in my Norton program, VPNs are extremely safe. And I'll tell you how they work. I just want people to understand how a VPN works. What happens is when you connect to the internet without a VPN, have an IP address. That IP address is your street address to whoever's trying to hack you or get into your system. A VPN randomizes that access by sending it to a server somewhere not connected to you and bounces it around. So that if they're trying to get to your system or hack your system, they are not as easily able to get into the system. Number two, most of the VPNs are secured with encryption. So because the traffic is encrypted, it's impossible for somebody locally to connect to your system and spoof it, which, by the way, just so that you know, Wi-Fi, unencrypted, is very easy to hack in your home. I can take that little machine right there and connect to your Wi-Fi in your home in 15 minutes. And anything you do on the internet, I can pull it up on that computer.
It would take me longer.
So it's very important to understand that if you're using Wi-Fi in your home, you should be using a VPN. If you're using Wi-Fi in your home, make sure you're encrypting your traffic using the encryption methods in your router as part of your connectivity.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes. And no, let's start. The question was, are VPNs safe? That's what he was answering. What's your question?
I'll follow up on that and ask you, in looking for a VPN, what do you want to consider?
In looking for a VPN, what would you consider?
You can go to a number of sites like PC Magazine or some of those, and they list out the different software protocols for VPN as well as antiviruses, and they rank them according to cost and their security. So you can actually look them up. If you go on the internet and you look at PC Mag or I'm trying to remember one of the other sites, don't go to, by the way, this is very important. There's fake ratings of everything, including antivirus programs out there. So if you just search for the best antivirus program, you'll probably end up somewhere you're not supposed to be. So the best thing to do is go to a reputable site like PC Magazine or someone like that and look. I just lost there I got it back. Look for ratings. And that'll list out, Avogast is one of them, Norton, McAfee. Those are all top names.
Okay, in just a second, we're going to do a drawing and do a little survey, or what is it? Trivia. But let's see if we have any more questions before we do that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I now go to a Chick-fil-A or a Publix, and I have my credit card on my phone, and I scan it there. Am I at risk?
No, not really. On your phone, it's encrypted if you have it properly set up. And when you put it on there, it's just like putting your credit card on there. It actually randomizes an approval code and an access as part of it. So actually, it's very secure using your phone. Actually,
Did everybody hear the question? You guys hear the question? Okay, let's repeat the question. So you're using your,
My credit card is on my phone.
okay,
I can double click it and make it available to pay for something. I'm at a Chick-fil-A drive-through or I'm at a Publix. I can put my phone against their iPad
yeah.
or whatever. Am I at risk? It's going through Bluetooth, it's going through all kinds of.
It's not going through Bluetooth. No, not really. What's happening is there is a near field communication as part of your phone. When you put your phone up to that device, it's the same as putting your credit card up to that device. It is encrypted.
Okay,
okay.
so no worries.
No.
Yes, ma'am. Is it Proton? Is a Proton VPN?
I don't know anything about them.
Hey, congratulations, you stumped him. John?
Okay, so you load all this stuff in your phone, right? What happens when they steal your phone or they try to mirror your hard drive?
Two things. The first is your phone should be set to your ID or your face. So I don't know if you realize this, but there's a big thing that went, go ahead.
Okay, when that first came out, and they were trying it in China, 60% of the faces they put it to, they cracked it. They weren't even the people. Has that gotten better?
It has gotten better. Let me clarify something. There's nothing perfect. So if you put stuff on your phone and you lose your phone, the reality is that somebody has to have an awful lot of time and desire to get into your phone and not know what they're going to get. The FBI, if you remember, there was a big lawsuit about them trying to get into somebody's phone. They finally hacked it, got into it for a case that they were working, but there was a big fight about that, and it took them a long time to do it and a bunch of experts to make it work. I'm not saying that they're not going to come up with better things to get past stuff. It's just like the AIs that fake you out. I can actually put Randy up here doing anything I want on the screen using AI and using his voice, and it would look just like him. Those will not scan like that, but there will be at some point where everything becomes harder and harder to secure. It's just the fact of nature right now. That's one of the reasons that Randy, and I want to reiterate something Randy said earlier. I highly recommend, number one, that you, in every case, have separate email addresses for your financial information, your friends and family, another one, and then one that you use for trash and other things. That way, it's harder for somebody to get into your information. Another thing that Randy was talking about that I want to clarify is that in the emails that come in, PDFs that are attached at the bottom can actually include a virus. So clicking on something you don't know what it is just as dangerous as clicking on a phone number and calling somebody or responding or clicking on a link. Go straight to a website always. If you are getting something through email that you don't expect, call and verify it. That's what we do. That's one of the things that we try to do in case you send us something. You may get a call from one of the CSEs going, did you send me this? That's your protection and our protection, because we don't want to click on any document or any link without having verified the information. So you should do the same thing.
So guys, I know this isn't exciting, but it's important. It's a little different than our normal meeting, but hopefully, I remember hearing a pastor speak one time, and he said, my job is not to comfort the afflicted, but to afflict the comfortable. So that's kind of what we're doing today. We want you more aware and to take the extra precautions. You guys remember the story about the two guys in the woods, and they're camping, and they hear a bear, and the guy hurries and puts his shoes on. The other guy says, what are you doing? You can't outrun a bear. He says, I don't have to. I just have to outrun you.
There you go.
Right? So sometimes these layers of protection are that, being less vulnerable than somebody else would be. So anyway, thank you guys again so much for our time. I put up here our ambassador programs, hard to see. Yes, where's the question? Yes, sir.
The extra layer, something you touch upon, people get in, you said something could clear out their account. I specifically asked my client, do not tie these accounts together.
Right.
Anybody that floats these checks that they do.
If you have like an overdraft protection function on your account and it replenishes an account, it can repeat the vulnerability.
And everything out of it before you know.
Yeah.
Something I suggest to a lot of folks. I don't know the source, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think anything that gives you that additional protection makes sense. And again, some of this.
Uh-oh, speaking of bears, we poked one.
I want to clarify one other thing. You should put alerts on every credit card you have. You should set a limit on every credit card you have to receive an alert on your phone. That way you can verify that something has been done. I've had a credit card that I received for one of my businesses. I put in the safe, never even activated it. Guess what happened? $900 charge went through. Card never been activated, never been out of my possession, been in a safe. You should set up alerts on every credit card and every bank account you have for any amount of money that you feel comfortable losing.
Tony, one aside. So what is the credit card limit I should give Leanne on our credit card?
$2.
Just curious.
Your mileage may vary.
There is a problem with setting up alerts on the credit card. We have a credit card, and for some reason, they think only Matthew is on the credit card.
Okay,
So I'm in Decatur, trying to order something at
Yeah.
Darwin Two's house,
yep,
and it won't go through. He's getting alerts, but he doesn't have his phone with him.
so it's Matt's problem.
So it's
I also want to know which one's daughter number one and which one's daughter, no, I already know it, never mind.
And then I'm embarrassed because my credit card
Yeah,
is not going through. So then I just use my Apple Card, which is my card. And it goes through and everything is fine.
worked just like Matt planned.
But I mean, if you have a joint
Yeah,
account,
yeah.
it should be joint.
Yeah,
And I have called Synchrony Bank and told them,
yeah,
I am on this account
Yeah.
too.
yeah. That's a good point. That verification may not come to both people.
And he
Yeah.
never has his phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how to solve that. Maybe somebody else does.
So you do that.
Yeah, yeah. So like Tony said, nothing's perfect. What we're looking for is additional protection and ways of doing that. So, all right, everybody stretch, get ready, re-engage your brain. All right.
Now,
go.
I do want to say, this is heavier content, but last year, after this presentation, we had somebody go home and they went back and reviewed something, and they found something they needed to dispute. We had a client call us the next week, and they said, I immediately identified something and deleted it that I think I might have fallen victim to. So we get it. We know this is a heavy topic, but if we can save you time, if we can save you resources, and any kind of frustration related with fraud, we want to. So if you guys appreciate what Randy and Tony put together this morning, do me a favor, give them a big hand. So I want to see how many of you retained some things from today, already knew them. We enjoyed breakfast this morning from the Australian Bakery. I've got another place that we enjoy here in Marietta, and that is Dessert de France. I hope I said that right. I felt like it was close. If not, I'll apologize to them later. But anyway, I got some gift cards I want to give away. Now, if you've never been to an event before, all right, here's the thing. If you feel like when I'm calling on hands that I'm not being fair, I'm probably not. I like the good kids that sit up front. You guys know what you did, okay? I also like people that are real animated. I see those hands first, even if they're not the first one. So I'm going to do the best that I can to be fair. It's not going to roll that way. I'm going to try. I'm going to fail. But who's willing to give me a little bit of grace so that we start giving out some gift cards? I love that. You people are great. The ones in the back are still frustrated with me. That's fine. John, you knew. All right. If we want to protect our passwords, what were some things that we learned about this morning that we could do to help with password protection? And I will take any answer from that full slide. Yes. Don't use that same password. And then if we're going to use multiple different passwords, no, put your hands down here. Everybody's up now. Okay, all right. If we're going to use multiple different passwords, how could we make that simpler? What was the vehicle that was mentioned? Password manager. I love all of these things. Other acceptable answers would have been phrases that we know, capital letters, lowercase letters, numbers, special symbols, Klingon, I don't know. Anyway, all right. I fell victim with my wife last year. We saw something that looked really real, and we made a goof on the slides. If we fall for a text, an email, or a website that looks real, but it's not, it's called what? No, I tried to put a little hint in there. I put in a rhyming word. If you picked up on it, I might do that over the next couple questions. I said goof and spoof. We got to be careful for spoofing. It might look real. If it's good to be true, it might just be. All right. One thing that the red lights on Whitlock have in common with emails and correspondence that tell us to act immediately or quickly, we should stop Stop. Bob with the hand. Thank you so much, Bob. All right. Oh, if somebody were to be impersonating a financial institution that you might have a relationship with, but then call you and say, hey, Ray, I got to tell you about something that's going on with your account, but first, can you verify it's you? Can you give me your social security number so I can verify on my side? That's not right. And that's, we're going to put fish on hooks. Call them back. No. Fishing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. We have not fallen victim to, but we are involved in fishing. I say worms on hook. That was too strong of a strong. All right. Now, the last thing, they're not acting like a Southern gentleman, and they might be even boxing your ears a little bit. You got a grandchild that's in the clink, and they used their one phone call to try and call you, and they didn't get you. You've got an opportunity right now to give me your credit card number, and we can post bail and get them out. Do you want to help that sweet, sweet baby? Yeah, no, yes. All right, and what is that called? We're still using the raise of hand method. You guys are doing great. I know we're going to be, yes. It would be an emotional moment, but what's that name? If we want to say we have fallen victim to it, if they were boxing my ears, it's doxing. Fantastic.